Make things short here, we are seeing rising open interest. We are seeing a rise of leveraged positions at the moment. That should be a little bit of a warning sign because if the market goes maybe down by 5% or 10%, and we all know this can happen very quickly in cryptocurrencies, we could see a possible cascade of selling, bringing the market further. Good morning, everybody out there from the Prime XBT Trading Academy studio. I hope after yesterday's bloodbath on the cryptocurrency markets, you are still doing well. Thanks for joining here today. You can see I look a little bit tired. It was, of course, for everybody out there, a long night in trading cryptocurrencies. And we want to use today really to look into the moves we saw there, especially in Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of the altcoins, and analyze what has happened there and what is the smartest way to maybe position ourselves to deal with what we saw yesterday with a flash crash of 10 to 15 in some cryptocurrencies, even over 20%. And I just played a little clip for you yesterday. I played a little clip for you just now that is from yesterday's video where I talked about the possibility of exactly this happening. I said we had a very high leverage position in the market, open interest in Bitcoin futures, and this could always lead to a cascade of selling once the market moves into the opposite direction. And this is exactly what we saw yesterday, sadly. And I'm not going to say I told you so, obviously, but it shows the importance, in my opinion, to always be prepared for the things you cannot prepare for, actually, but you can prepare for them because you use a stop loss to secure your position. All right. Before we start, as always, our risk disclaimer: this webinar is brought to you and provided by the primexbt.com research team. This is no financial advice. Our aim is to educate you, to let you have a look into the mind of a professional trader so you can make your own better informed trading decisions, and you always have to do your own due diligence, obviously. All right, so let's start with Bitcoin. And we saw, I called it a bloodbath yesterday. So really a slump down all the way from this area here of, I need my highlighter, of round about 53,000 that was denied, all the way down to 42,000. And then the market recovered a little bit, found a support, actually closed over the 200-day moving average. This morning, we see a little bit of selling pressure again. So currently, we are below the 200 days moving average. And the question now is, how are things going to continue? And if we look at the lower time frame here, so I want to go maybe as low as, let's go to the 5 minutes here, actually, because I think it shows it even better what we saw there yesterday. Here we go. So here. So this was what was happening, and you can see the volume spiked, of course. So what was happening there is that we saw, once the market started dipping below 50,000, we saw a cascade of forced liquidations in the market. Forced liquidations meaning here, a lot of people were long in the market, were expecting Bitcoin to spike through the zone of resistance between 53,500 and 59,000, and then got caught by surprise because the market actually did the opposite. It went down throughout the day, so there was selling pressure, and eventually people being leveraged long and buy position utilizing leverage, for example, of 1 to 10 or even 1 to 100 in some cases, they get forced out of their positions. And the nature of a market always is like, when if something like this happens, things go normally very, very quickly. So you will usually see a lot of positions forced liquidated within a very, very short time frame of maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, up to half an hour. And this is exactly what we saw here yesterday. So market started dipping below 50,000 here. And then, yeah, things took a turn for the worse. Some people down here at around 42,000 actually started buying again. This led us up again over 46,000. And yeah, this is also where we're kind of lingering around now. So at the moment now, we are seeing, and I want to hold on. Let me, wrong tool, no wonder. All right, so, and let me get back here to the things how they are today. So at the moment we are seeing more selling pressure, and the question really is now: is this going to stop somewhere? Is this going to continue? What are we going to see here? And in my opinion, well, first of all, let me start like this. I on Twitter and Reddit this morning, I saw a lot of people commenting like with conspiracy theories. Hey, how can that be on the day that the El Salvador Bitcoin law goes live and it becomes a legal tender in El Salvador? All of a sudden, we have this crash. This must be the banks. This must be countries that don't want this to happen, that are manipulating the market. This is not correct, guys. Don't fall for something like this. I can fully understand that people are looking for explanations, but the explanation for what happened here is really on the hand. This were long position. The market was only expecting one direction. And remember, I said yesterday, in a sentiment of extreme greed, you gotta be a little bit careful that the opposite, because things can flip to the opposite very, very fast. And because we had such a huge amount of leverage position and only in one direction, yeah, it sadly only took a move of 5% to trigger a cascade sell that let down further 10%. And it's exactly the same we saw in Ethereum. I said yesterday, Ethereum even more over leveraged. There was a new all-time high yesterday in leverage long positions for Ethereum. So really, we plunged from almost 4,000 down to 3,000, then recovered a little bit. Here, of course, the important now is that we recapture this area of 3,365 and not return into the sideways range again. And then, of course, things going worse. September usually always is a month for cryptocurrencies that is not so positive. So yeah, we could also in Bitcoin see some more downward pressure, but I'm fairly optimistic that in this area here, actually, we have the opportunity to, get into longer term positions again for really a discounted price, for a discount of 5 to 10% on yesterday's prices. And yeah, it might even be that we continue into this area here, but again, the area from 38,000 here onwards really shows very, very strong support if you look on into the on-chain metrics. So I would be personally surprised to see the market really dipping down there all the way, but it's not impossible. It depends a little bit on what the sentiment does now as well. And I wanted to have a look at the sentiment. Is it already coming out freshly? Fear and greed. It's still from 16 hours ago, sadly. Oh, no. Oh, wow. This is oh, look at this here. 47. So crazy. So yesterday, and this is the prime example of how crazy things can be with cryptocurrencies sometimes. Yesterday, we had a sentiment of extreme greed, 79, and it dropped today to 47. So we are back now in neutral in neutral territory, where if you are day trading, you probably can trade both sides now, with a little bit of being cautious, because should we see another down day today? So should the market continue down today, be prepared that the sentiment will very, very change to the negative. And I wouldn't be surprised that we are then maybe 2 days down the road in a sentiment of fear again. Long term, however, it does not really change things, because, I always say, when in doubt, zoom out. So if you zoom out, and I'm going to zoom out all the way to 2014 now, going to use a logarithmic chart. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this really was not much that was happening. So if you still believe in the Bitcoin story and you still believe this whole thing has future and Bitcoin is going to, or cryptocurrencies in general. So the same thing applies also for Ethereum out there. So if you still think, hey, this is a future technology. The network is going to grow. There are more countries that will come on board buying, using cryptocurrency as a legal tender. There are more companies like MicroStrategy, like Twitter, that are going to use Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies as a mean of balancing their balance sheet, for example. And well, then this is an area to buy. Then you really can see this as a discount. Might be that September is going to be a little bit boring with an emphasis on downward pressure. And a couple of days ago, I also said that one of the analysts out there that I like very much. I like Plan B with his stock to flow model on Bitcoin very much. And he said he expects Bitcoin in September not to be lower, by end of September, not be lower than 42,000. This was before the crash. So he published this, by the way, in June, when we were still lingering around somewhere, I think between 35 and 36,000. He said August close not lower than 47, worst case September not lower than 42. After this, it's going parabolic, 65, 100,000, and so on and so forth. So if you believe in that, this might be a chance to buy now. And the same, of course, also applies for Ethereum. And as always, Ethereum does what Bitcoin does, but with even more percentage. And you can see this today again. Bitcoin currently minus 4.6%, Ethereum minus 5.8%. So yeah, it's always, I almost said the same that is happening there. So, if you feel insecure today, it's okay also to take a day off. Do something else, get the cryptocurrency markets a little bit out of your head, and just spend some time with your family, and then return tomorrow to your trading desk. And yeah, this is still crazy. I've never seen a single day drop in the sentiment like this. But yeah, really shows how volatile also the opinion about cryptocurrencies out there can be. And yeah, talking about forced liquidations of those leverage positions. So we saw yesterday a local high of 13.4 billion leveraged positions in Bitcoin, and 4 billion were flushed out, force liquidated. So and this is what really triggered this downward moves. We saw 4 billion US dollars in a very short time frame in leveraged positions that needed to be closed. And I saw something like the biggest one on some exchange out there was something in the 30s or 40s of millions. So there was somebody that had built up a huge position, 30, 40 million US dollars worth of Bitcoin long positions with leverage, that was forced to close those positions. And if it's a little bit, like when you're in the elevator and the elevator is full and everybody wants to exit at the same level, things can get very nasty, and you might want to try to push your way out. So this is what we are seeing here today. We might see this continue today. But if you are playing a long term, so if you're not day trading, it shouldn't really concern you if you buy, for example, now at 45,000, 43, 42,000, or 47,000. So if you are playing the long game, the long term game, if you're still believing that the price of Bitcoin will eventually follow all those models out there that propagate that we are going to see prices north of 100,000 in late 21 or early 2022, well, then this is the time where you can buy at a discount. And don't try to catch the bottom or the top. It's not possible. Like, if you ever meet a trader out there that says, I'm a professional trader, I'm able to tell you buy the US dollar where the top is going to be, buy the US dollar where the bottom is going to be, they are plainly lying. It's just not true. If you have, as a professional trader, you want to find a means of, general direction. And for me personally, if I say, now, all right, I see this as a chance for building up a midterm or long-term long position in Bitcoin again, I don't really care if I enter now at 45, 43 or 42, because of course nobody knows where the bottom is going to be. Maybe we saw the bottom yesterday already at 42,000, and the next days we are going to see a green candle up again. This all has happened in Bitcoin, all has happened on the market. Let's have a real quick look at the news. I haven't done this morning, to be honest with you. So just to get a general feel of, what are the things the news outlets are reporting about. Yeah, and it's very typical. Yeah, this is what led to the 400 billion wipe off from the crypto market. Oh, okay, in terms of market capitalization, that's right, yes. Coinbase has something with the SEC at the moment. Yeah, over 4 billion in open interest cleared. This is like the graph I showed you just now. So this is really crazy. And this is a bit like what we saw when we plunged down from this all-time high as well. But back then it was even worse. And so one thing I noticed this morning when I was browsing through the German media is that the media that normally never writes something about cryptocurrency suddenly was very eager this morning to report again, Bitcoin crashes again. We are all going to die. Everybody is doomed out there that buys Bitcoin. And of course, this is clickbait and it sells. It's important in these times that you keep a clear head. So it's important that you sit down and if you want to continue to trade the markets, that you make a game plan for yourself. And the game plan, for example, can be if you choose like, oh, I think we are going to see a recovery, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but maybe in October, and the market is going up again. You have to decide for yourself, okay, where do I start buying? And is it really worth not getting into the market because I try to fish this bottom here? Yeah, I try to see if the market goes down again and then it goes up suddenly, and I didn't enter the market. No. So what I normally would do in a situation like this, what I am doing in a situation like this, is not about what I am doing. I would, for example, if I, let's say, want to build up a position of 10 Bitcoin, again, I would have some buyer orders here at 45, at 44, at 43, at 42, 41, and so on and so forth. Because this way, when the market goes down, I'm sure that I can enter for those lower prices, and I'm slowly building up my position, because by the end of the day, I don't know how low it will go. Yeah, maybe it will even drop into this here again. But at the moment, I see this not being very, very likely, but of course, I might be wrong. Anyway, the message here is, guys, make a game plan if you still want to continue trading. If you are shocked about what happened yesterday, and if you're shocked that the market suddenly can move 15% into one direction, and maybe you incurred even some losses yesterday, well, then take a day off. Spend some time with your loved ones, with your family, play with your kids, do something that hasn't anything to do with cryptocurrencies, and regain your strength. And important, not again to enter the market blindly. And the second thing, and I'm preaching this always every time on this show, use the stop loss, use the stop loss, use the stop loss. And yesterday, you could really see why I preach this. Everybody that didn't have a stop loss, maybe here around 50,000 US dollars, well, it's sitting on losses now if you entered the market above 50,000, or was like maybe even shaken out of the market because they were leveraged long. So lesson learned here, guys, is use a stop loss, use a take profit, don't use too high leverage, and don't just trust on the charts. You always have to look at the surrounding. And one thing that is great when you trade cryptocurrencies and you are not day trading them, you want to hold the positions a little bit longer, is there's so much data out there on what is happening really on the blockchain. So you can even see on the blockchain where are the average prices that wallets bought Bitcoin for, and deduct your findings from that. And if you don't know how to do that, well, you have a place where you can go every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday here to that crypto show. And of course, we won't leave you alone. Also, especially in a situation like this, we'll always be there for you. If you have any questions, you maybe feel insecure what to do now, drop us an email under academy@primexbt.com. My promise to you is that we always answer every single email. There are no dumb questions. So don't be afraid to just state your concerns, ask your questions, and I'm very, very happy if a lot of the same questions are asked to answer those questions here live on the show. If you're not doing so already, also follow us on Twitter under px_academy. This is all for today. I'm going to see you again, not tomorrow, very important, on Friday. Yeah, today is Wednesday. Tomorrow, we're going to skip the show, but we're going to do a show on Friday again. So this week, instead of Thursday, we're going to have the next show on Friday at 10 a.m. CT. If special things happen, if the market continues to plummet, of course, we're going to do an extra special again to comment on it, to give you guidance and to enable you to look behind the curtain. Until then, remember always to use the stop loss and take profit. I'm going to see you again on Friday at 10 a.m. CT. Take care and have a good time.